Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Critical English Grade 7. And my name is Monique Sarias on this rainy afternoon. It's Tuesday, right? Did I check the calendar right? Yes, I did. So we have with us here today our student, Azaria. Thank you for being here, Azaria, even though it's really wet on the outside. Happy that you could make it. Are you feeling cold today?
No.
No? You feeling okay? A bit tired though. Yeah, I think we're all tired. Today feels like Monday. Anyway, so our topic, as you can see behind me, is letter writing. And whether or not you're going to school, you will still have to write letters at some point. Or if you're not writing letters, you'll have to write emails. And pretty much the same concepts will go over from letter writing to email. So no excuses not to learn letter writing. So I'm going to ask Azaria some questions on letter writing. And we have 5 points to fill there. I'm not going to tell you what the 5 points are, but when you hear the word or the phrase letter writing, what comes to mind?
Plot?
You're thinking of a plot? All right. You mean like a plan?
Yeah.
All right, so here I'm going to put the word plan. What else? What makes letter writing different from other kinds of writing?
Writing it to someone.
You're writing it to someone, so it has to be addressed to someone. Good. Anything else? So we know it has to have, you need a plan. There's a certain way to write it. It has to be addressed to someone. What else? Is it like a story? No, it's different from a story, right? Good. So, as planned, there's a certain way that it has to be written. Are there different types of letters? Can you think of any different types of letters?
Block letter.
Oh, so you have the block. So we're talking about structure again. We have block and we have, it's either block style or, can't remember the other one. The other one is semi-block. So this also comes back to the plan. This also comes back to the structure, right? We also have another type. When the one that you're writing to your friend, what do we call that one? If you're writing a letter to a family member or to a friend. Dear Auntie Donna, dear cousin Mary, whatever. What type is that called?
Friendly.
Good. So we have one that is called a friendly letter. And what's the other type if you're writing to the mayor or you're writing to... Okay, so it can be a business letter if you're like making a complaint or something. There's another word for it though that we would learn in primary school. Begins with F as well. So this tells us that it's more professional. Business is like one type of it. Business falls under this type here. You don't remember? That's alright. So it is formal. Heard that word before?
Yeah.
Good. So when you're thinking about letter of complaint or business letter or job application letter, so all of those would come under formal letter. Even business letter would come under formal letter. But the ones that you're writing to your friend or to your family member, those would be friendly. So tell me the difference between friendly and formal. What makes them different? They still need to have a structure, but the structure is different. Can you tell me any of the differences between the structure or difference?
Formal letter is...
That's all right. You can take your time. So think about that in the meanwhile. So it's addressed to someone, blah, blah, blah. It can be written different ways. Anything else you can think about it? Can you name some parts of the letter maybe? What's the first thing you need to write?
The address.
Good. So it needs. So these are the parts. So address. What else?
Your body.
It needs a body. There are two more with date. Good. So the date will come under the address here. So address, date, When you said dear so and so, dear Mr. Jones, dear Mary, what's that called? It's called a greeting, right? Or what's another word we can use for greeting in letter writing language? It begins with S. Good, you see, you know it. Salutation. Good, so we have address, date, salutation, body. After body, what do we have?
Signature.
Good, we have signature. And above the signature, we have something. It begins with C. CL. Oh,
Closing.
closing, or some people say closure, right? So you can say closure, you can say closing. So we have the address, the date, the salutation, the body, closure, the signature. So let's go over this. If we were writing a friendly letter, would it have all of these? Which one will it not have?
Closure.
The closure and the signature will come together. So will you need that? Yes. So basically it needs all of these. Formal letter will also need all of these, right? But what makes it different is when you're writing the friendly letter, you only include one address. So that will be the person who you're sending it to. You're including their address there, because they're the person you're writing it to. However, the formal letter, you will need to write your address and their address. If you're writing to me, my address. The date needs to go there, and for salutation, it needs to be something professional, like dear Mrs. So-and-so, dear Mr. So-and-so, dear Dr. So-and-so, whatever their name is, right? That will go there. But if you're writing to your friend from school, dear Alicia, you don't need that title. Or if you're writing to your aunt, dear Auntie, can you give me an aunt's name?
Mary.
Dear Auntie Mary. Good. And then you go into your stuff, right? The body is where you'll have a lot of the differences though. So in the body of a formal letter, it will sound very much, this letter brings to your attention the garbage next to my door, which your dogs probably rip up if you're writing to someone complaining about the garbage situation, right? If you're writing to your friend, how are you doing? I didn't hear from you in a few months. I hope you're well. So those kind of things come over as friendly. So the way you write the body is very different for the friendly letter, and for the formal letter, it's a bit more to the point. You get straight to the point. If you're writing to apply for a job, you state what position you're applying for. You state what makes you an excellent candidate for the position. You end off with telling them that you're looking forward for them to contact you via this email or via this number, or whatever the case is. For a friendly letter now, if you start off with how are you doing, how do you think you're going to do the ending for your body? When you cut off the phone with a family member, what do you usually say?
Bye.
Bye. Or if it's somebody that you love, like your mom or your dad, I love you, or I will talk to you next week, or if you're writing a letter, I will write to you in the near future and I hope to hear from you. Take care of yourself and children, or of yourself and dogs or cats, or whatever the case is. See, notice there the difference comes with the body, how it's written, and it comes with the address as well, how you pretty much write that part. Can you think of anything else to include about letter writing? Do you think in the near future, perhaps we may not have to write letters anymore?
Yeah.
You're hoping? All right, so tell me some of the current reasons why people write letters. What are some of the purposes of letter writing?
Connect with each other.
To connect. Very good. So we write letters to connect. What else? So back in the day, when there was no Facebook, no emails or so forth, no YouTube, no Facebook. I said Facebook already twice, right? People used to connect by letters. So if they're living a tongue away or a country away or across across the world, they can write a letter and hear how this person is doing. They can video chat with them, they can call them over the phone, they can send a text message, they can send a messenger to them or a WhatsApp message to them to find out how they're doing. They had to send letters, and these letters go to post offices and they deliver to those persons. So yes, connect. And people still connect using letters these days, currently, right now, because it's still in fashion. People still use it, and sometimes they use it for intimate purposes. So if a note is handwritten, somebody might think it's more special, or this person took their time to write to them. So it still has its purposes, but you still have other options that you can use to connect with persons, right? But people still use letters to connect and to reach people who are far away. Any other reason you can think of in terms of purpose? No. What about having a proof of something? For example, I could tell you, let's say you're my neighbor, right? Let's say you're my neighbor and we're living next door, and we both claim that this property belonged to us. All right, hi Alicia, good to see you. Good afternoon. So we're both claiming this property belonged to us, but there is no record of us talking to each other about this. So maybe if I write a letter to you saying that we had this conversation or so and so forth, and this is what the conversation said, that could be a record that I made contact with you, or I sent a letter to you, or I have my lawyer send a letter to you saying, this property belongs to my client, blah, 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 whatever, right? So it could also be a way of having a record of something, also to communicate something else. So think of bills that have to be paid. Usually they send bills through the mail. You'll get bills from GWI, GT&T, and those different places, right? They don't always send them these days because sometimes they send it directly to your phone, but some companies still send a bill to your home, and it's in a letter format, so they communicate with you using the letter format as well. Alicia, can you think of any other reasons why people write letters? So this communicate here can be to inform. For example, if you want to resign from your job, you communicate by informing your employers that you are resigning. If you're applying, you're also communicating, letting them know that you are interested in the position. Yeah, I can think of those three. Nothing else to add there. Alright, so we're just dealing with those three at the moment. And yeah, so Alicia, we're just going to go through this a little bit more with you, right? So we're dealing with the letter writing. We're dealing with the two types of letter writing: friendly letter, formal letter. We're dealing with the plan of the letter, the structure of it, and the parts we have listed over there. But it can also be block style or semi-block style. We'll come to this in a minute. Letters need to be addressed to someone, so you need to have an audience, and those are the purposes for writing the letter. So we're going to go and discuss block and semi-block in about a minute while I clean this here. So maybe Azaria, you can tell us about block, and Alicia, you can tell us about semi-block, or some people say semi-block. What do we mean when we say semi-block or semi-block? So we'll start with Azaria first. If we're talking about letter writing and you're asked to write block style, I want you to come to the board. This is your page. Show me what is block style. And Alicia will come over here. This is your page. Show me what is semi-block style. So over to you, Azaria. Block. You're going to show me block, and you're going to show me semi-block. You don't have to write words, just write like a line there, like a straight line. Draw a straight line. Yeah, can you turn it off, please? Thank you. You're finished? Alright, so we're seeing some lines going on the board there. All right, so you want to step aside so we see what's here. So we have lines going all across, right? Which part will be the address part of your letter?
Upper side.
Upper side. Just write an X where you think the address should be. Date. Where will your date go? Right at the bottom there. Where will your salutation go? Salutation is dear Mrs., dear Madam, dear Sir. Okay, show me where your body will be now. You could write a big X where your body should be.
Underneath.
And we need to have your closure or your closing and the signature. Where will those go?
At the bottom.
Which part of the bottom? So we need to have two X's because one is closure and one is signature. All right, thank you. So your page is a little shorter then, right? All right, we'll go to Alicia now. Come, Alicia. And then we will discuss to see if we got it right and if we need to fix anything, right? Just focus on yours. You're doing semi-block or semi-block, and you're showing us where the address will be, where the salutation will be, where the date will be, and so forth. So salutation first. You can show us where the salutation, sorry, my bad, address. Show me where the address will be on yours. You're doing semi-block. Okay, so that will be the address. Show me the date now. Where will the date be? All right, show me where your salutation will be. So we got address, date, salutation. All right, show me where your body will be. You can do more than one lines to show the body here. Maybe one more. Now show us where your closure and your signature will be. So that's closure, signature. All right, thank you very much. Thanks. So we have block and we have semi-block, right? Let me show you something else. So here, I know you'll be doing pie chart later today, I think. So you have a full circle here. What do we call this half circle?
Half?
Yeah, we can call it half, yes, but what's the term for it? Something circle. We can't say half circle, but there's a specific term for it. Whole is a circle and half of it is called what? A semicircle. You know this, right? Good. Semi. So think of it like this. We're looking at block style and we're looking at semi-block style. So block style means it's supposed to take over the whole. Think of it taking over the whole page. Think of semi-block as taking up half of the page. So let's try again. I'm going to leave these two on the board here. Let's try back with block. So for block, remember, and I'm going to give you an example with both of them. All right, I'll give you one address for this one, and later on I'll tell you how to do the other address. So for block, you're going to have your address there. You have your date there. Your salutation goes there. This is your body. Closure is there and signature is there. Notice how it takes up everything. Now semi-block is when we split the page in half. Just think of this as a split. We will have our address here. We have our date there. We have our salutation there. Our body will now take this format here. And then our closure and our signature will be on the right hand side. So wherever your address is, you match it down there. So this is just one style of it, right? Now there are times when you have to have two addresses, your address and the recipient's address. So you're the sender and if I'm sending it to both of you will be the recipients of the letter. So in a case like that, if it's block style we're talking about, I'm making your page a little shorter. If if it's block style we're talking about, that we're talking about two addresses, then both address will come on this hand here. If we need two address in this format here, what happens? Semi-block. So we have one there and we have one on the other hand. So that can happen as well. So it will be your address up there, there, their address here, and salutation, which is the dear, sir, madam, dear, Mrs., dear, Mr., dear, whatever. Usually when we're writing friendly letters, which is our focus for today, so we notice how these differ, right? So Alicia, let's start with yours first. You're supposed to do semi-block, right? Looking at what you have and looking what's here, can you see some areas that you got right and some areas that you got wrong in terms of formatting? So we got our body right because you got the body there. We got our salutation right. Well, we got a little mixed up with our address. Notice that? And for our signature line as well, it was on the either side of it, right? So everything will come down on. So block is here. And for Azaria, we got our same thing. We got our body right. We got one of our address right if we were writing this both addresses. So yes. And if we had another address, it would come here. We got our salutation right. And we got our signature and closure right. So if we had one more address here, that would be the only thing going on for you, right? So we got things right and we got things not so right, which is okay, right? You don't have to be perfect all the time. All right. So, and all of this is just refresher for you, right? Because you did this already in school, probably too many times too, right? But because we don't write letters a lot, it's easy to forget these things. So let us plan what we are going to write in terms of a friendly letter. Is there something you would like your parent to get you? I know some persons celebrate Christmas and they buy gifts for one another or so forth. Is there something you have in mind that you would like your parent to get for you? Or something you would like to do that you need your parents' permission to do? We were talking about something earlier, right? Do you want to talk about that? No? Okay. You're going to come up with something else then, right? So Alicia, you first. What is something you would like your parent to get for you? Or maybe an aunt living overseas or an uncle living overseas. What's something you would like to get?
A new pair of glasses.
A new pair of glasses? Okay. I'm going to give you one. New pair of glasses. Well, we're going to write a letter to an auntie or an uncle for this one? An auntie. Good. So we're going to come to this in a minute. Good. Azaria, can you think of something you would like to get?
A new pair of earbuds.
A new earbuds. You have an iPhone, right?
No.
No? Okay, if you have an iPhone, some persons will have AirPods, so depending on which one of them you have. I don't think I can draw that up, but I can draw a little box. Can that work? With a little cover? Yeah? Yeah, acceptable? Alright, good. So we know what we want. So now we have to write a letter requesting this. And it is a friendly letter. So let's just assume, like we said, we're going to plan it out here, right? We're not writing the letter today, we're planning it today. So it's a friendly letter. Which style do you want to write? Semi-block or block?
Block.
Block. So we want everything on this hand here. So we want your auntie's address here. You're going to fill that in for me. What date is it today? 22nd, 11th month in the year 2022. Dear auntie, what's your auntie's name? Any one of you? Carmen, Louisa, Pamela, Nicola,
Sandra.
Sandra. Dear Auntie Sandra. See how far we got? We already got 3 things out of how many we're supposed to get. So what do we say now? Let's list the points that we want now. Let's come up with 3 points to put in our body. We're not writing it today. So we know what you're asking for, right? Requesting. For you it will be the pair of spectacles or glasses, and for you it will be the earbuds, right? So either whatever you're requesting. And what do you think should come next? Why? Good. And what should be the 3rd paragraph? So that's gonna go in the why. So let's give them like 1 and 2 reasons why in the 2nd paragraph. Remember the first one, we gotta ask them how they are, We can't just say I want this. You gotta be like, how are you doing? How the winter treating you? How the snow? And all those different things, right? You gotta find out about them in this one here, and you request what you'd like to have for Christmas. Thank you. You give the reasons why. 1, 2. You can give more as well. If you give more, all of those will come in this 1 paragraph here, right? The next paragraph will be, remember you're closing in this paragraph that you introduce. You state your reasons why. What's coming up here now? This will be your closure, right? Or your closing. Let me call it the closing paragraph. I don't want to call it closure, and then we mix it up with the other thing. So you gotta wrap things up here. So you also want to maybe invite her to come visit you in Guyana, or tell her, Mommy and I are planning to come for Christmas, and we're gonna be there on these and these dates. Looking forward to spend some time with you. Or you can also tell her again about the glasses, Thank you so much for making my Christmas better, or making my holidays more enjoyable. You wrap it up nicely with a present, with a bow on top of it, right? And then, Nito, this is your body here. So we're doing full block. Our block. Your favorite. You might want to spell it out, or since it's an informal letter, sometimes this is acceptable. But if you're doing this for an exam, you don't want to say fave, you want to say favorite, right? Ourite. So this is one way of spelling it, or you could spell it the other way as well. Your favorite niece. How do you spell niece? I comes before E except after C. That's the rule, right? Your favorite niece, or your favorite cousin, if you're writing to your cousin, or your favorite girl. All those different things you can say, right? Or you don't even have to say that. You can say your... What else can you say? Your lovely child. Your lovely child can work as well. CHILD. And then you sign your name there, right? However you sign your name. Or you don't even have to say your. You can say with love. Not true? So you can end with love as well. So those are some ways, because most people end with yours truly, yours sincerely, and those different things. You don't have to end like that. You could end like this, with love. Your favorite daughter, your favorite niece, if you're a guy, your favorite nephew, right? So if you're looking and you're a guy, nephew, handsome boy, those things can all work, right? So it doesn't have to be yours truly, yours sincerely. It doesn't have to be those. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. So this is our plan, and I'm going to ask you to take a note of it so we can work on this, and we're going to have the example up for us next week. Thank you so much for joining. We are going to go into formal letter writing next week, but we will just review what our girls wrote for this. They will read it for you, audience, and I'm sure you will have a blast with that. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you next week. Sorry, not next. I keep saying next week. I will see you on Thursday, and we will continue our discussion on letter writing. We'll be doing formal letter writing. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Over to Matt.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Critical Math, grade 6 to 7. And previously, we were looking at statistics, and we examined interpreting graphs. And then later on, we looked at, later on, we looked at frequency tables. But previously on interpreting graphs, we briefly looked at pie chart. And so today we are focusing on the pie chart and actually how we actually make them or how we draw them. All right, so let's begin our lesson today. And so a pie chart is a chart that uses slices. So if you think in terms of a pizza, right? So it's a circle. Sometimes it's referred to as a circle graph, right? And each part or each slice, right, it's made up, we call them sectors, if you could remember when we were looking at circles, right? Each part is a sector, and a sector is bounded by 2 radii and an arc. So as it relates to the pie chart would be used to represent data. And so, for example, if we're looking at we looked at this example the last time, if you're looking at our favorite type of movie, and we have comedy, whether you like action movies, whether you type with romance, right? Drama, if you like a lot of drama, and sci-fi, this kind of a scientific, scary kind of movies, right? So let's say the survey was done and you found that 4 persons like comedy, 5 persons liked action, 6 liked romance, just 1 person for drama, and then you have equal to comedy, you have sci-fi with 4 persons as well, right? So this data here can be represented in a pie chart. Now, how do we arrive at the information in the pie chart is dependent on the total, as well as we also know that the angles in a circle make up 360 degrees, right? So you use that concept of the angle being 360 degrees in a circle to make the pie chart, right? But pie chart can also be represented in percentages. So you will see for example, let me scroll up here. So you see the example of the pie chart here. So you see drama, 1 person like drama, and that corresponds to 5% of the number of persons who we looked at, right? Sci-fi, remember sci-fi and comedy, they both had the same amount of persons, 4, if you look at our table, right? And so they both account for 20%. So we're going to look at how we arrive at the 20%. And in terms of the sci-fi, notice the key color there is blue. Drama is a little darker blue, and we have romance in red and comedy in orange. So we have a color scheme for each favorite type of movie. All right. So the sectors are calculated in a specific way. Likewise, you also calculate the percentage in a particular manner, because remember, percentages would be out of 100, right? And so in terms of a pie chart, it's a good idea of looking at sizes. So you, in terms of small or large, so you can tell. So if part of the pie chart is large, it means that thing was either the most popular thing, right? And if it's the smallest piece, it probably means it was the least liked thing, right? So which type of movie was the least liked? Drama. Because you see how the circle is small, so many persons do not like drama. And what is the most liked thing there? Which color looks like they take up almost a huge part of the circle? Romance. You see the red? So the red takes up a lot, a little bigger. It's huge. It's small. It's larger than drama. It's larger than sci-fi. It's also larger than comedy and action. So people like to watch a lot of romance movies based on what we're looking at here. All right. So So how do we arrive at 20% and how do we arrive at these little sectors there to represent that pie chart? It's very important, right? And so in terms of percentages, what you would normally do, so you see we have 4 persons with comedy, 5 with action, 6 like romance, 1 person like drama, and 4 persons like sci-fi. So what you would normally do here is add up those values and you get a specific total. Right, so you can draw back that table there. So draw back the table with comedy. So your favorite type of movie. So you can write it down the page, right? Comedy, action, romance, drama. You can go down the page rather than across the page. Right, so you can do it like this. Comedy, drama. Where else we go? Romance. Right? Sci-fi. What was the other?
Action.
Who?
Action.
Action was the next one. Action. Alright, and so we can set up our table like this. Over here. So we can make it into a frequency table because that is exactly what we have there. Right? We have a frequency table. Alright, so favorite, here we have favorite movie or favorite type of movie, and here is our frequency. Alright, and so comedy we had 4, comedy was 4, action was 5, I think romance is 6, drama is 1, right? Romance is 6, drama is 1. I think sci-fi was equally just like comedy. Right, sci-fi was also 4. So here you can have a total. And so you add up the values so you know what's the total frequency. Right? What's our total frequency? Okay. The frequency, instead of seeing the word F, frequency, you can see a little word F, and F that represents frequency. So we're using knowledge from the previous class in terms of frequency tables as well. Right? So from the frequency table, you can draw your specific type of graph. In this case, we are looking at pie chart. Right? So when you add up, how much you're getting? 5 and 4, 9. 9 and 1 is 10. 6 and 4, 10. 20? No. Alicia, you gotta write fast. Take your time, right? 4, 1, 6. 4, 5. Right.
21.
21? No. 5 and 4 is not 9?
Yeah.
Look if you come here. 5 and 4 is 9. 9 and 1 is 10. 10 and 6 is 16. 16 and 4 is 20. Right? Yeah, or you can say 4 and 1 is 5. 5 and 5 is 10. And then you have another 10 and 10, 20. So you got 20. Right? So our total frequency is 20. So right. So write what these values correspond to. So 4 correspond to comedy, right? So favorite type, you have comedy. All right, comedy. Comedy, drama, romance, sci-fi, action. So let's go back a bit to our slide. So in terms of percentages, so you may want to know what out of the whole, right? What percentage each portion represent. And so we know it's 20, and so comedy would be like right here. Comedy. How much is comedy? How many persons like comedy? 4. So 4 out of the total. What's the total frequency? 20. And percentages out of 100, right? Great. So if you calculate here, 2 into 2, 1. 2 can go into 10, 5 times. 5 times 4 will give us. So you have a 20% there. Alright. So now that is represented in percentages. So you can try drama, romance, sci-fi, action and see in terms of percentage what should they occupy. Because when you're drawing the pie chart, rather than put the degree, you normally put the percentage. Alright? So whosoever is viewing the data, right, is going to have an idea between 1 to 100 on that scale where the person's favorite type of movie lie. That's the idea. Make sense?
Yes.
Good.
It can also be like a record. Something
A record
like they record the amount,
of
like the amount of persons who likes the movies.
Yeah. So in a case like this is exactly what is actually recorded here. All right, or what is recorded, because you have in the example the person looked at 20 persons, right? And the 20 persons, right? You have a certain amount of them who like comedy, who like drama, romance, sci-fi, action. That is what it's actually telling you. So remember our previous class when we were looking at that, when we were rolling the marbles to see on which number they're going to fall on? And then we found that last week Thursday class, when we roll the marbles, down that plinko thingy.
Oh,
Yes, and you found, what was the most popular number that the marbles were landing on? 9. I think it was 9 as well. Yeah, so it's a similar scenario. Only here you're looking at favorite movie. So in the plinko game as well, we could have calculated what percentage, right? Because I think we roll it like 18 times. Yeah, we roll it 18 times. And so 9 out of 18 would have represented 50%. So 50% of the time, or half the amount of times, when you roll a marble down the plinko slide, if you want to call it that, half the amount of times the number is landing on 9 in that particular instance. Right? Great. So where are we? So drama. So how are we calculating drama?
the 1 over 20
1/20
and
multiply by 100. So that will give us
5.
22, 1, 20, 10, 5. So that's just 5%, right? Small. 5%. Romance. You calculated already, Azaria? Great. So what did you get for a romance? 6 out of
20.
times 100. So that gives you, and you still get 5. 30%. Cool. Alicia, you read sci-fi? But sci-fi is going to be similar as comedy, right? So we can write sci-fi up here. SCIFI. Sci-fi is similar to comedy, so it's 4 out of 20 times 100, which will give us the same value, right? 20%. And the last one, action. Action would be 5 upon 20 times 100. We still have 5, and so we get 25%. So if you look at all those percentages there, you can actually see the largest percentage is what?
Romance.
Which is 30%, and it corresponds to romance. So if we check our graph here, so that is exactly how they got these 20%, 25%, 30%. So that is how they arrive at those various percentages there. So you had to find the total frequency. Think you follow?
Yeah.
Good. Now if you're asked to draw a pie chart, well then you'll need to know how you need to calculate the angle in the circle. So you're using the same concept. So just now we looked at percentage, so we know we needed to multiply that by 100, right? And so now, seeing that we need what degree of the circle we need to multiply by the total degree of a circle, right? And so in terms of degree, let me use this right here. So if you are looking to degree of the circle, right? So comedy, same concept. Comedy would be 4 out of 20, and the total amount of degrees in a circle would be 360 degrees. So if we calculate here, 22, 1, 2 can go into 36. So 18 times, and 18 times 4. Alright, so 18 times 4, and you're done. Eighteen fours.
72.
Alright. 4 is 32. 4 1 4 and 3 7. So that would be 72 what? 72 degrees. That would be 72 degrees. So it means, so also remember we looked at how you normally would measure the angle in a circle. Right? We did some of those. So same concept. So you'd have to draw a circle, right? Measure out the radius, because usually you will get the radius because the center of the circle would be marked by the compass, right? So you draw in the radius, and from the radius you more or less navigate. So let me show you something. So I'm going to show you here. So that is what your pie chart is going to look like, right? So let's look at this here. So let's add in some what we had just now. What are our movies? Comedy. I'm gonna add comedy. Then we had what? Drama. We had romance. Here we had sci-fi.
Yeah.
SCIFI. And something else. Action. So we add here. So this is just an easy way, really. All right. ACT. Action. Great. Comedy. So give me the total. 4. I think it was 4. Drama. 1. Romance. 6. Sci-fi.
4.
Action.
5.
Action is 5. So let's see what will happen in our pie chart here. You see? Right. We had 40% and so before. So let's make sure our values are correct, right? Comedy is 4. Sci-fi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 things. We just want to make sure it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Comedy is 4. Drama is 1. Romance is 6. Sci-fi is 4. 5. We're supposed to get 20. So there's something else added in there that's giving us. Okay, so the pie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we have a little discrepancy in the calculations here because you see what's happening, right? So yellow is supposed to be comedy. How much percentage we got just now?
72.
No, percentage wise, we didn't get 72%.
5.
I think we got 5 first 20, 20%.
20.
Yeah, so we're a little bit over. So something is wrong with our calculations here, but that is fine. So this particular online pie chart is giving, all you have to do is type in the numbers and it's going to generate the particular pie chart for us. All right, but going back to our slide, so you would have had to draw a circle. So you see you set up our protractors here, right? So you would have had to page. So you would have had to draw a circle as accurately as possible. Don't mind my circle. Right, that's the center. You will draw in your radius. And so you use your protractor to measure. Right? First one, I think it was 72 degrees. So it means you would have had to set up your your protractor, line it up. All right, make sure the center is here. So in the next class, we will actually do some measurements. So you'll actually see actually learn how to actually make the pie chart. All right, so today we focus on the calculations of it. So on Thursday, we will look at how we actually arrive at the angles in the circle, right? So you expect from there, like that, like that, like that. All right, so your pie chart is gonna look like that. Exactly like that. Any questions? So you know how to calculate the percentage, because notice when you're after you finish drawing your pie chart, you're expected to write in terms of percent. And see, there is no degree here. You can see the degrees represented in terms of size, but there is no mention of 72 degrees. Right? All you're seeing is the percentage. So it gives an idea as to what size each part takes up. Okay? Any questions? All right, so in another example, you can look at grades as well, because sometimes at school, your grades is given in percentages. Sometimes some schools, they give grades in terms of A, B, C, or D. If you got an A, it means you're doing well. If you got a B, you're doing well, but not as good as an A. If you got a D, it means what? You're not doing so well. You're more or less below average, all right? And so here you have, they're checking out how many students got grades in some test that was done. And you had 4 students with A's, 12 students with B's, 10 students with C's, and we had 2 students who weren't doing that well, all right? And so here again, to represent in terms of percentages, you would need to know what each portion represents in terms of percentages. So what is the total frequency? You get the total frequency?
28.
Yes, 28. That's the total frequency. Great, so let's look at the question. So world population by continent in 2008. It's kind of small here, right? So we have Africa with blue. North and Central America, we have another little brown, rusty brown. South America in that they're green. Asia, that bigger color there. Europe, right, with a slightly here. This is Europe, and we have Oceania, which is that little piece there. So in 2008, approximately what percent of the world's population live in Asia? And you get a choice. Is it 50, 60, 75, or 90? Because Asia is represented by the larger portion. So which one you think it is? You think it's going to be 50? It's not exactly 50 because it's little over. So here, 50 would run somewhere here, right? Look. 50% would be somewhere here. If it's like that. So if the line has stopped there, see the circle is exactly like a half. So a half there, half of the circle will represent 50%. So it's a little more than a half. It's not 75. So 75 means that it would have been 3/4 of the circle. Alright? So in terms of the pie chart, the visual, based on how, so half of a circle will represent 50%. 3/4 of a circle will represent how much percent? 3/4. Draw 3/4 of a circle. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see you draw 3/4 of a circle. Can you represent it? Let me see. Cool. Sweet. Okay. You're getting some ideas. 3/4.
3/4.
3/4. So what are you thinking? So the whole is how much?
The whole is
How many parts? 3/4. So the denominator is going to tell you how many parts the whole is. 3/4. So 4 is at the bottom. So draw a circle, divide it into 4, and just show me 3 out of the 4. So you get a visual. So 3 out of the 4 you were showing me. So you need to extend the line and then erase a portion. Alright, so you have 3/4. Extend the line and then you erase a quarter. So that's 3/4. So how much percent would be 3/4?
3/4 would be.
Is it 50%, 25%, 30%, 75%, what? No, don't look at the question. I'm just asking you. Don't look at the question yet. I'm asking you what you think 3/4 would represent in terms of percentage. So if I'm going to give you 3/4 of $1, how much? Okay. So before we end. So our time is coming to an end. So we have some questions that we're going to tackle in our next session on Thursday. Alright? Alright, so we'll stop here for today. We'll see you next time. And you're coming with your answer as it relates to 3/4. Alright? Thank you.